today I'm in the kitchen and I am making strawberry rhubarb jam, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. It's not hard. It only takes 3 ingredients. I don't think that I told you that this is a no pectin jam. There's absolutely no pectin in this jam, so it's just the fresh rhubarb, fresh strawberries, and sugar. I have 2 pounds of diced up rhubarb. Peter was so helpful to get that done for me. And then I have 2 pounds of diced tomatoes. Oh my gosh, not time for that yet. 2 pounds of diced strawberries. So I just weighed those out real quick to make sure I had the right amount. I'm going to actually add these strawberries right to the rhubarb. To get a really, really good juice going on the fruit, I'm going to add the sugar to it. So this is 1 and 2 cups of sugar. It really calls for 3 cups of sugar, but I did try the strawberries. They're super, super sweet, so I'm not going to go with the whole 3 cups. I'm just going to put in an extra ½ cup, so that's 2½ cups of sugar. And again, jam is one of those things where you really have to know if you like it a little more tart or a little bit more sweet. We tend to, I had a strawberry, my mouth is kind of watering here, but we tend to like it a little more on the tart side, and so I'm always trying to reduce sugar any way I can. All right, so Maria's just going to give it a quick stir. Okay, what we really want to do, it's kind of hard to stir, honey, but we want to reach from the bottom and try to get some of the fruit brought to the top, because we want to get it all coated with sugar if we can. So I'm going to let Maria do that, and I'm going to come over here, and this is the kettle that I'm going to cook it in. I'm just going to use my great big enameled cast iron pan here. Any kind of large, wide pan is going to work out fine for this. So what's going to happen after she gets that all stirred up, we're going to let that sit for about 30 or 45 minutes to juice. And while that's happening, I'm going to get my jars ready to go. But what I have here, I just have this water. It's just getting nice and hot. I'm going to let it come to a boil. I'm going to swirl my jars around so that they can get nice and sanitized, and we'll just keep them nice and warm. All right, the fruit looks great. You can see how, maybe when I pull this back, how juicy it's getting underneath there. So this is ready to go. So when making jam, it's very, very normal for it to get all foamy like this. You can go through and skim the foam if you'd like. I typically don't, and it seems to just kind of blend right in with the jam. I guess it's just a step that I've just never worried about. You can put a little teaspoon of butter in here if you'd like to try to keep it from foaming so much, but again, I typically don't do that. I just keep stirring and stirring and stirring, and eventually this is going to thicken up. I'm just going to remind you guys again not to get distracted, because it's so easy to do when making jam, but you really do have to just stand here at the stove stirring and stirring for quite a while. If you do use pectin, you can reduce the cooking time a lot. I think if you use pectin, it's like 5 minutes. You know, like pectin would be something called like Sure Gel, and that just adds extra pectin to help things gel up faster. But if you want to use the natural pectin that's found in the fruit, and that kind of combining with the sugar to gel on its own, it takes a lot longer to cook. And it's hard for me because I kind of have this mantra, since I'm in the kitchen, I might as well do more kitchen things. And I have some chicken that I want to pull off the bone right now, and it's really all I can do to just stand here stirring this jam, because that chicken needs to be made into chicken noodle soup. And yeah, that's what I really want to do. But I'm reminding you guys, which is a reminder to myself, that I'm just going to stand here, stir and stir and stir, and not get distracted, because I do not want to waste all of this jam. It's looking so beautiful right now. Alrighty, I just turned this off. This is really, really thick. Boy, looking through the camera, it actually looks like tomato sauce, but it's not. It is strawberry rhubarb jam. And I was using my thermometer here because for my elevation, which is like nothing, I needed this to come up to 220 degrees. It didn't quite make it to 220, but I was stirring and stirring and stirring for such a long time. I finally just took it off. I put a little bit on a plate. This is another test you can do. I put just a little bit on this plate, popped it in the freezer, and after a minute I took it out and it was gelled nicely. So that means that it's done. So I'm just going to get my jars out here. So when filling up a jar with jam, just want to fill it nearly to the top, just about 1/8 of an inch of headspace, because it's really not going to expand much. I am going to water bath can this when I'm done here, because I do want it to be shelf stable. But you wouldn't have to. This will keep in the refrigerator for at least a month. If you have fridge space and you want to just eat it up, I would just skip the canning step and put it straight in the fridge. So if the jar edge would have been sticky or anything, I would have wiped that off, but it wasn't sticky at all. So I'm just putting the lids and the rings on. All right, so I'm going to pop these right back into the hot water that I used to sterilize the jars.
Why are you putting cans in the hot water?
Okay, I'm going to have to take just a tad bit of that water out, because as you can see, it's right up to the lid. And then I'm just going to bring this to a real quick boil for just about 5 to 8 minutes, and that's going to seal the jars. Okay, this was just in here at a gentle boil for just about 8 minutes, and so I'm going to take those out. And as these cool here, I'm just going to listen to every canner's favorite sound, which is the sound of the lids popping. And within a couple minutes, I should start hearing pop, pop, pop. And then I know that they're sealed and they're ready to be labeled and sitting on my shelf. So that's it. That is all there is to making strawberry rhubarb jam. And the cool thing about this method is that you can do this with really any fruit that you like. So I do this with cranberries, where, you know, I don't add any extra pectin or anything. It's just the sugar, the cranberries, and the water. In that case, you can do this with like cranberries and apple. You could do this with blueberries and rhubarb. Really any combination that you guys like, you can put together. You can look it up online if you're not sure what the combination should be, but I found just trial and error. I just put together usually equal parts of 2 different fruits, put them in my big cast iron, cook them down with some sugar to taste, and basically voila, I have some kind of jam. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you feel one step closer to tackling your own canning projects in your kitchen this summer. You guys have a great afternoon, and head on over to the comments if you want to leave a comment or a question for me regarding strawberry rhubarb jam. Thanks, bye-bye.